MMA Rants and Raves, UFC 115. Gilbert Iyvel versus Big Ben Rothwell. Guys, let's recap this fight. Beginning of the fight, you see Rothwell coming out like a mad dog on Iyvel, attacking, throwing combinations, and Iyvel is just backpedaling all the way to the cage. And then he continues the assault. Then you see Iyvel countering with some attacks of his own, combinations of his own. And then you see Rothwell with a big takedown, takes Iyvel down, throwing ground and pound, covers him up for a lot of the round. Then they seem to reverse each other. He gets up, he reverses him again. So it was a very technical and interesting fight to see in the first round. Then about 40 left, starts to stand up again. And then you see Iyvel throwing a nasty combination to Rothwell, and one of them was a high kick that just landed right in the head. Let me tell you something, that would knock most people out. It's just a testament to Rothwell's tough, nasty chin. This is a guy that can really take punishment. And he just sucked it up, absorbed the punishment, and survived the end of the first round. But I give this first round to Rothwell because he seemed to control most of it. I'm going to give him that first round. Moving on to the second round, Rothwell right away, another quick takedown. And then 311, he gets full mount, ground and pound, 235. He gives up the mount. That surprised me. I agreed with the announcer. Couldn't understand why he would give up that mount. You know, it looked like he was getting tired, but you don't give up a position like that because that's almost impossible to get out of. Especially a man that size, 265 pounds on top of you, with a full mount, to just lay there and look for openings and keep on taking him. There's nothing that the guy in the bottom can do. You can't strike back from a position like that. All you can do is hold his guard. So he gave up the mount, and then they got back up again. He was pressing him up against the cage, trying to wear him out, trying to throw more punches and knees. But then he gets another takedown. At about 102, then it started to get really ugly for Rothwell, because then Iyvel was on top, and he was throwing punch and strike after strike, and he was landing most of them. These were full-blown punches with a lot coming behind them, his weight, his power, and I thought they were going to stop the fight. It looked like it. The ref was like looking over them, and he was a little bit hesitant, and it looked like he was going to do something, and I said, oh boy, that would be a shame if he would lose this fight, because he was fighting really well. But he gutted it out. He was able to get up. Wow, you really got to hand it to Rothwell. I mean, he took a lot of punishment once again. He just got up, started to stand on his feet, and he managed to survive that onslaught by Iyvel. And then he got Iyvel down again. What, about 35 seconds? Started grounding and pounding him, and he finished that round strong, despite the brutal assault by Iyvel, which may have ended the fight. So I have to give the second round to Rothwell again. I mean, because he did control most of it, got the takedowns, and landed a lot of strikes. Moving on to the third round, you see Iyvel this time going for a takedown. He said, look, I can't let this guy take me down. He's wearing me out. He's going to win this fight. So he goes for a takedown, but to no avail. Rothwell's too big, too strong. He stuffs it. And then basically about 331, you see Rothwell continuing the assault, gets a takedown. It was takedown after takedown. He just couldn't get Rothwell off of him. This guy is too big. He's too strong. And it was just basically ground and pound from there. Then he got him in a crucifix position, and he was just hitting him in the head with elbows and punches, just laying on him. It was just too much. It was just too much for Iyvel. There was nothing that he can do to get that man off of him. There was nothing he can do about the takedowns. You know, and you gotta understand that Iyvel is basically a kickboxer. He's not known for his wrestling or ground game. There was nothing that he can do to stop it, you know. And to his credit, Iyvel did the best he can. You know, he did hit the guy with a lot of good punches, and he did that high kick, which landed, which actually staggered Rothwell. I thought it would knock him out, but it didn't. So that's basically it. Iyvel did what he had to do. He tried his best. But Rothwell is just bigger, stronger, and he's a very cerebral fighter. He said, look, I'm not going to stand and bang with this guy. I'm bigger and stronger. I can get this guy down, ground and pound him, wear him out. 265 pounds, I mean, just to have a guy laying on you all that time is just going to wear anybody out. Despite how good of an athlete Iyvel is, and Iyvel is just tough guy. Wow. I mean, he was able to take a lot in this fight. Anyway, you know, I like what Big Ben brings to the table, and not much is spoken about his chin. I've seen this guy go through wars, fighting with guys like Andrei Arlovski. That was a war of a fight. And then the fight against Velasquez, I mean, he was taking such a brutal beating by Velasquez, grounding, I mean, a lot of ground and pound, being taken down. And then what was amazing about it, when the ref ended the fight, he was just livid. He said, "Why are you ending it? You know, those punches weren't even hurting me." And that's amazing. You know, this guy can really take punishment. He has to punch a little bit harder. Because if you remember the Arlovsky fight, you know, he landed a lot of punches and it was a war, but his punches, if he could work on his striking, if he could hit harder, if his striking could be more effective, then he could be even more of a dangerous fighter. And he already is. He has many wins under his record. I mean, what, 31 wins? And this is his first UFC win, so, you know, it's really good for him. I mean, I think this guy can do some damage in the heavyweight division. I agree with what the announcer said. That fight against Velasquez made him look like a much better fighter. I mean, he obviously has been training hard. His ground game was just superb. Gotta hand it to him. He got a lot of good takedowns. His wrestling is better now. I like the ground and pound. He was doing crucifix positions. He was getting full mount, side mount. I really like what this guy brings to the table. He's just got to work on his strength conditioning, strike harder, and he can do some damage in the heavyweight division. That's the way I see this fight going. Would like to know what you thought about this fight and Big Ben Rothwell's future. Please leave your comments, rate this video and subscribe, and thank you for tuning in.